Hi, my name is Chuck Hicks, but I'm originally from Bogalusa, Louisiana. And I'd like to just share an experience with you that happened recently in my hometown. On the morning of Dr. King's birthday, around 3:30 that morning, my mother's house was firebombed, and my sister's car was burned up. In Bogalusa, my dad was Robert Hicks. 40 years ago, my dad was one of the prominent leaders in Louisiana in the Civil Rights Movement. He was also noted for his role in the Deacons for the Defense and Justice in Bogalusa, one of the founding chapters. The Deacons were the first black group to carry guns in the Civil Rights Movement for self-protection. We believe that because of the many things that my dad was involved in, as well as my mom, they were actually both a team, as well as my brothers and sisters during the movement, that this was a calculated event. That on Martin Luther King's birthday, that somebody attempted at 3 o'clock in the morning to set fire to my mother's house and burn up my sister's car. The house did not burn up; they burned the roof, but it didn't ignite. And then they came around and they poured gas around the house and tried to light it. But the house is brick and the grass was wet, so that didn't happen. So finally, my sister's driver's side of her car door was open, so they opened it and doused it with gasoline and burned up the car. It's been a tragic event for all of us, particularly my mom, who's 82, and my sister, who's 60-some years old, and they both live in that house alone. And so for many of us, family, friends, we are concerned, and we're hoping that many people will reach out to any kind of civil rights group, to media, to the FBI, to Congress members, to make them aware of what happened, so that we can ensure that protection is given to my family, as well as a thorough investigation. We do know that they have come in and looked at the events and labeled it a racially motivated hate crime. We're hoping that the federal government, the FBI, the Civil Rights Department, the Attorney General's office, and all other sources that who have a connection to these kinds of activities or these kinds of crime will involve themselves in it. You know, it's a horrible thing for anybody, particularly a family who is, we think, given so much. When my dad died, they named a street after him. Our family has been selected to be in the Museum of African American History and Culture when it's built in 2015. And one of the reasons that happened is that when they talked about a selection of people or events to be in the Civil Rights Movement, I wrote a proposal and suggested that one of the things that they look at was that people or groups or towns that were in the Civil Rights Movement that were not major cities, that what it was like to live in a small town and be involved in the Civil Rights Movement is totally different than what it was like to be in a city. And my dad took the lead in a small town to fight for civil rights. And not only did he do it just for Bogalusa, but his leadership and his court cases had national and statewide effect. There's a case called HICKS versus Crown Zellerback that helped to desegregate all the work areas in the country. And that is now a case studied by law school students. And so for us, this is a tragic thing to have happen 40 years later, that people would still pick a family at this time when my mom's is 82 years old, as I said, my sister's 60-some years old. But one of the tragic things, or one of the difficult things, is psychologically to have to deal with it at this time. When there was a movement, and when there were people that would gather around and you knew where the enemy was coming from, at least you could be prepared and you had a community that was there with you. But times have changed now. There is no rallies. There's nobody who will gather and gather guns and come and protect you. Those people are 70, 80, 90 years old. So that time has passed. And so what we began to deal with was a new time where there are new tactics being used. And one of those tactics I think that's important is that those people who can Twitter, those people who can email, email, those people can do Facebook. That is the way that we can get the message out, what's happening to the Hicks family, type of protection that they need, so that psychologically they can know, they can get emails, they can hear from people and know that people know what the plight is, and that people are reaching out throughout the country to let people know what is happening. And so I would make an appeal to anyone who can Twitter, who can email, who can Facebook, to let people know what has happened, and that if you can reach your congressperson, if you can reach a city council member, if you can reach somebody in the Justice Department, if you can reach somebody who can write an article and get it in the paper, to do that. You know, it's one thing to be in a fight, it's another thing to stand in a fight, you know, when you can say, well, I got one more good fight in me. But that one more good fight ought not to be for this kind of situation when you have to fight alone. And so I make an appeal for all those who can, if you would, please reach out and support us in this tragic situation that has happened to my family. I thank you, and until freedom comes, the fight goes on. Thank you very much.